Hello, YouTubians. Today I would like to talk to you about these Republicans who are always harping on big government, say how it's awful for America, how we're going to hell in a handbasket. People like Newt Gingrich, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, uh, all those folks. But it's big government that has created the middle class, that has created the things that have most benefited America. I bet everyone who listens to this has directly or indirectly benefited from big government. If you went to a public school that was built during the 30s, it was most likely built by the WPA, the Works Progress Administration, that was started by FDR as a way to get people back to work again. If you go to many public parks, in recreational areas, again, many of those were built by the WPA or the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is again programs to help people who are unemployed find jobs and build up our infrastructure. But also highways. The investment in the highway system, that was a Democratic initiative. But if you benefited from any of these programs, you benefited from quote-unquote the democratic idea of the Great Society or the New Deal. If you, as a child, used WIC, women, infant, and children, or if you're pro-life and you want someone to, continue a pregnancy, this is an option you offer to them, then you're benefiting from that big government. If you used a Pell grant to go to school, used a Stafford loan, those are things that come out of the New Deal. If your children or you went to Head Start, that came out of the Great Society. If you did Upward Bound, that came from the Great Society. If you have a teacher that's Teach for America, came from the Great Society. AmeriCorps, again, Great Society. Peace Corps, Great Society. The New Deal created the infrastructure for which we could have a middle class. It passed laws outlawing child labor, laws that made collective bargaining possible, which allowed workers to root out unsafe work conditions, fight for better pay, safer working conditions, which have benefited the public, because a healthy, safe worker makes a better product that's safer. And it was through the labor unions that we got pensions and retirement benefits. It was through the Democratic Party and through the idea of big government that we got Social Security. Before we had Social Security, we had old people who'd starved to death. Before we had Medicare and Medicaid, we had children who died, who just died for lack of medical care, preventable disease. So again, if you've used any of these programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, Disability, or you know someone who has, Head Start, food stamps, free and reduced lunch, has had daycare assistance, has been taught by, have received a Stafford loan to go to school, or a Pell grant, or they've had a teacher who's received a Stafford loan or a Pell grant to go to school. Has been taught by a teacher who's in AmeriCorps, or has got a job through Job Corps, has received training through Job Corps, then they have benefited from the Great Society and then the New Deal. Also, what is really good about these food programs, it keeps the American farmer working, because the excess which they couldn't sell, because the American farmer makes so much food, goes into these food programs, and it keeps the American food market competitive. You see, you do good, you get good. Also, if you're an African American and you can vote, you need to thank a liberal Democrat who passed the 1965 Voting Act. If you're African American and you can go to school where you want, you need to thank a Democrat. If you can have a job that you want, you need to thank a Democrat. If you're a woman and have the right to equal pay, you need to thank a Democrat. The Lizzie Ledbetter Equal Pay Act. These came from the Great Society, the New Deal. These programs have really helped bring up the middle class. So I would like you to reflect on your life and how you benefited and how those around you have benefited, and see how much of that can be linked back to those two great social thinkers, FDR, LBJ, and to some extent Truman and Kennedy. Oh, and that reminds me, the GI Bill, that was Truman's brainchild. If you've gone to school by using the GI Bill, or your children have, you're benefiting from the blessings of liberalism. Think about it. Thank you.